He's situated. It's now streaming live. Okay. All right. Let me get my phone loaded up here so I can see what's going on and see questions and comments.
Gotcha.
And I gotta get my questions back up because they went out. There we go. We're here live. I'm sitting on my back porch, live here with Coach Alex Fair. We're gonna just have a little conversation and talk a little bit. You can peep in and ask questions. We'll answer them as they come up, and we're just having some fun. So, Coach, let me start you out with the funny question that I start everybody out with. When was that first butt whooping that you took that you knew you had to do some serious work to be a good coach?
When you as a coach?
As a coach, as a player, either one.
Well, actually both, man. As a player, I had an older brother, and he dogged me. We used to have him and two of our friends from the neighborhood, man, Kevin and Kenny Samuel. My brother at the time was a Piston fan, and one of my older homeboys, he was a Laker fan. So I was like a Bull, then ended up being a Celtic. But we used to play Pistons versus the Bulls 2-on-2, and we used to play to 100. So the score used to be like 198, but then just one-on-one, man. My brother Steven, who everybody knows as Sal, he dogged me. Older, man.
He tagged in it. He's watching you.
Yeah. We as a first year head coach, probably like the fifth or sixth game played on a Friday night. We played my alma mater, Andrew Jackson, and went to Andrew Jackson. Tough game. Found a way to squeak by a couple of points. And that Saturday we played in the Battle of the Rock against the school where I had just left from, Northwestern, and they beat the snot out of. I mean, they beat as bad as like 80 something to like 40 something. So I didn't have my whole team at the time, but still, it was humble pie for us, man. Being a little 1A school in Great Falls, so we regrouped and we got back to the drawing board, man. But that game right there made us so much better.
Right. Well, let's talk about your coaching influences and who your biggest mentors were and what actually made you get into coaching. Tell me about your coaching journey too, like where you've been. Tell people that too a little bit.
I worked for Dave Conrad. He had just came and got the head job at Newberry College, and I graduated that fall of 2002, and I joined his staff. Had opportunity to go with the D League, but the Greenville Groove folded, so I stayed on Newberry campus and coached with him that season. Got out, tried to play a little bit of basketball, and then I went back to my alma mater, and Coach Scotty Phillips gave me my first basketball job. He's now the assistant principal, Andrew Jackson. And I stayed there, worked for Scotty Phillips, Dale Reeves, my cousin Danny Wright, who's there now. And then after the season of 2013, I went to Northwestern High School in Rock Hill and joined staff with Larry Davis. Worked with him for 2 years, and then he left to take a job on college level, and I stayed with John Bramlett, who's there currently. And it was there, man, until Tuesday, November, when I got the call. We was at practice having media there at Northwestern, taking team pictures. And I got the call from Dr. Sanders, man, and Thanksgiving. So I hit the ground running. Man, and it's been an interesting journey thus far. After the first year as a head coach, coaching influences, man. I was always around the game, like my father, the late great Alan Cato, who used to do what we call skill development back then, when skill development really wasn't that popular. We would play games through rec, and then high school we would go on Saturday mornings to the old gym and just work out. Being around the game, my brother coach. My dad was coaching like summer leagues that were held in our small town of Kershaw, and just working with it. And then I learned from everybody that I worked with. with all the head coaches. You know, when you're an assistant and you have that journey as an assistant for a long time, we steal from everybody. So it just, you know, it took that, and you know, you build your coaching philosophy and you know your principles, and you just wait on that opportunity to get their head shot. So,
with that being said, let's talk about that a little bit, because you took over, like a week before they were getting ready to play their first game, and going into a school like Great Falls that has great tradition. They won. You just won the 19th state title in school history. That's the most in the state of South Carolina. Talk about the kind of pressure that you had a little bit, that you might have had on yourself, and that might have been given without being given, so to speak.
Well, I mean, I think in South Carolina, if you play basketball, you know the tradition of Great Falls. Going in, they were hungry, so it was a good thing. You know, not too much of a bad thing. They were just anxious and ready to work to get back to a place that they were very, very familiar with the state championship. So it had been 8 years, and we had 7 seniors, but we also had a real good core of young talent as well. So it was a good mixture. Some of them knew me just from running basketball leagues in the summer. So a lot of them grow up. My brother and I doing basketball camps. Some of them, you know, every now and again would come over to it. So it was a relationship with some of the key seniors, and we just talked about it. My coaching staff, everybody on the coaching staff is from Great Falls. So, you know, they let you know, especially the ones that have won championships, they let you know, okay, you know, we got an opportunity to get back there. The senior group, they were making strides. The sophomore year, they made it to the 3rd round. Their junior year, they made it to the upper state. So, you know, this was about redemption. It was, you know, lost 3 games. And the crazy part about it, when we got healthy in December and had our, you know, the first time we played with a full 12-man roster, we didn't lose a game. So it showed how good we can be. But it was interesting. It was hard work, you know, which, you know, that's what I'm about. A lot of them had to change their work ethic. We got better in the classroom. I think team GPA ended up being around a 3.2 as a team GPA. So, you know, it started there. And once the classroom kind of straightened up and got better, things started to fall in place on the court for us. So it was a great journey. You know, March 7th, be able to hold the trophy high, it was a great feeling for them. I was so excited for them. I had some times player, but you know, fell short. So in my new chapter, you know, I was able to hold it high. So, but definitely a fun and interesting journey.
Let's talk about what it was like to coach a kid that was going Division I. Obviously, you didn't have to go through the whole recruiting process with him, but you know, you had a Division I kid signed to go to Winthrop, and you know, talk about that, how it was coaching him, because you know, in that upstate game, I think he had like 22 points and like 18 rebounds or something to that nature. He pretty much owned the glass, and I know he did that pretty much all year long. But talk about how it was to be able to coach a Division I athlete at a 1A school, where some people may be like, you don't get them all the time, but they're special when they come through.
Absolutely, they're definitely special. I think on any level, but you know, with it being a 1A school, he understood the situation to the fullest. I told one reporter, I said the interesting thing about Kelton is he's super coachable, and you know, we would have relationships outside of the court, one-on-one with team. Of course, he was one of our team captains, but you know, he has a great work ethic. You know, and it's a lot of stuff that his dad, who's on my coaching staff, Marlon Tafford, better known to the community as Juicy, he put a lot of stuff in him early. And then when you grow up in a household and seeing your dad have 3 state championships, and you know, you just searching for one, you know, because you constantly hear it on a daily basis, it added fuel to his fire. I told Pat Kelsey, you're getting a very good basketball player. He's well-rounded. He's a solid student in the classroom, and he's just hungry to get better. I think he haven't even tapped into his potential. he was plagued by injury early on. So second round through the region, he got healthy and learned how to play both ends of the court. That's something with the high school kids. They kind of lean one way or another, but he was a rim protector, a rebounder, and he didn't care about stats. He didn't care about stats at all. He, like, coach, what you need me to do? And just in the state championship, he was a little ticked off. He was happy we won, but he was mad. He missed 10 free throws. But to finish his last high school game with 25 and 17 and a win, player of the game, is phenomenal.
That's big. So with that, you went into a program that has championship tradition, and they have history, they have tradition, and a team that was a game away from the state game last year. Talk about how it was to build culture there your way, and then put in your standards that you had to do, because when you're coming from a team like that, you take over a week before the season, you kind of don't want to change too much, but you want to change just enough so that they understand where you're coming from. So talk about your culture building and how you put your standards into the program.
We came in, we talked. I talked to the seniors first and told them, like, this your last go round. We had to become more disciplined. I studied a lot of their games from the previous season, and I think they kind of just played off. And it's no knock to anyone, but I just think they had a lot of talent, but really didn't maximize it as their junior year. So we talked discipline, accountability, and then being in better shape to just play the style that I play. I'm a 94 feet type of coach. I want to pick you up 94 feet and make it difficult for you. I try to dictate everything that you do offensively. They bought into it. And then, when you have key pieces out at the beginning of the season, like I say, it was on a fly. So I think we had 3 of our seniors out, and going off their stats from the previous year, those 3 guys average around 51 points combined. So we were playing without that. So when those 3 guys saw that we beat a solid 4A team in York, we beat the number 2 team in 2A and Andrew Jackson. Without those key pieces, there's like, look, if we buy into what he's saying, this could be something special. So each day, game and practice, we just got better. Practices became more competitive, and it became more difficult in practice than it was in the game. And it helped us. The coaches, we were pushing. We did a lot of skill development, and they were just saying there was something in the past they have kind of got away from with skill development. I like to teach the game through it. We got a lot better just learning the fundamentals of it, and it kept us from getting sloppy at times. So it's just I laugh now because those seniors gone, and the core talent we got back. Our sophomore class is real big. They can be great with work, but then just the mental part of the game. You know how to go. When you got the physical tools, it's about that mental aspect. So it's gonna be interesting.
When you took over the program, what was your first initial focus? Not necessarily anything. It may not have anything to do with like coaching. It may not have anything to do with basketball in general, but what was one of your initial focuses?
To build relationships. I think the greatest resource in the world is relationships. I stand firm on that. So I wanted them to understand they had to, learn how to trust me, and I also had to trust them as well. I knew that I had a strong coaching staff there. So, then I knew those guys as well coming in. But it's just, I talked to the seniors. I had a conversation. I was very transparent with everyone. So, through it, I said, we're going to enjoy the process and trust the journey. So, with that, that being said, each day became a challenge, and it's different because during the day I'm not at school. You know, I think probably like 95% of the head coaches in South Carolina actually work at the school that they coach at. With me, I'm not. So I'm at a middle school in Lancaster. So I would drive there every day and had to build, relationships with teachers, faculty, and staff, and to get them to understand, like, look, we're not just about basketball. We're about the classroom first. And, just sitting down, talking to AD and principals, getting them to buy in. And it was a culture movement, starting and letting them understand the culture that I was trying to bring. I understood the tradition that the school once had that, kind of got away from it. It's been like a little delay or a little break of what I say, but we got it back this year. So right now we're just trying to keep the ball going and just moving. So I was excited about having my first off season, but now we've been hit with this COVID-19. So it's kind of, everybody's just waiting now. It's the wait game.
The waiting game.
Yeah.
It's tough. Hope this show is providing some insight and enlightenment on some basketball so that we can still talk a little basketball. Let's talk coach's philosophy a little bit. We already know that defensively you like to pick it up in the end, 94 feet. I'm going to do you one better. I like to meet you in the parking lot when you pull up and escort you to your locker room.
Yeah.
Wait on you to get dressed and then bring you on back out to the court. But so we know defensively that you put pressure on, that you like to play up tempo. But talk about your offense philosophy a little bit. You don't have to go in deep detail, but just talk about the highlights of what your philosophy is and what it means to you.
Philosophy, I'm real big on sharing the basketball. They'll tell you we start our, after we stretch, we start our practice off with passing drills, let it touch. I'm a 41 motion guy. Love secondary break. We didn't do a lot of it this year. At times we did, but I'm a secondary break right into our 41 motion. And the reason being with 41, I just think it's an offense that you can run to multiple defenses to give us a chance to kind of play, like what I say, play free, but also have a little bit of structure to it. And to show we got good with that, we end up having, during the playoffs, we had 5 guys averaging double digits. So that showed that, we play a very unselfish brand of basketball. At times, taking advantage of our size and, letting the ball touch the post. I think that never changed. The 3-point basketball, the 3-point shot is sexy. And a lot of kids get, attracted by it. But I still think the game is played inside out. We break down stats, me and my coaching staff, and we show the guys that every time the basketball touched the post, we were much more effective offensively.
Right.
So, whether they drawing a double team, kicking out of it, and it's just, the points in the paint. I can't preach enough about that. You know yourself when the ball touches the post, what goes on. So I keep it simple. The guys, they feel free. They have freedom. They understand their rules and how we attack. We just not gonna just go down there and just jack up shots. They understand. We talk good shots, bad shots. A lot of times, and they grew in the game and started to understand that, what, coach, that's on me. That was a bad shot. Understand the rhythm of offense, when to attack. They understand, if I tell you who do we penetrate from, they better say we penetrate for others. You don't penetrate for yourself, we penetrate for others. So just understanding, like giving them a couple of rules, but also having a little bit of freedom to just play. I don't like to put too much on their mind, because when they thinking, their feet get slow. I don't like our feet to get slow. I like for our feet to be fast.
So would you say that your offense is, 41 is basically based on the read and react, meaning when you're driving for somebody else, I get in, I'm reading the defense of who to kick it to. If I draw the double team, obviously I'm going to kick it to the open man for the open shot. Would you say that's about what some of your focus is?
Very, very, very similar to the read and react. And, just teaching, understanding good decision making. So that's why when we do our secondary break, if we can get something fast through that off a good decision while playing fast, we'll take it. But at the same time, we go right into our base offense, which is 41. If it's a game to where we really can't get into our transition and we got to go I give a half court set. So, I'm just, and that's when we'll run our stuff, and kind of just get into a little bit deeper into our playbook. But
How true do you believe this is? Simple equals fast.
what did you say?
Simple equals fast.
All day. Simple equals fast. The guys are playing, they're not thinking, and they grow in the game. Their confidence goes through the roof, and it's nothing like playing against a team who has confidence in what they're doing. That I think a confident team could beat anybody any given day.
So let's talk about practice planning a little bit. How long do you take as a coaching staff, or for yourself, just in general, maybe not even just your staff, but how long do you take preparing for a practice? Obviously, you went into it and you went straight into games, but over Christmas break, when there was no games, so to speak, how long did you take to prepare for that practice? And then how do you decide what your focus is in practice for that day?
Well, it's a little different this year because we didn't get much of a break in December. The schedule was already set, so we played a bunch of games in the month of December. So, I thought we was going to be able to get a break. I think we might have had four days off the month of December. But normally when we got going, they have Saturday off. Sunday's option today. We come in, we stretch, do a little skill development. Monday, with us playing on Tuesday and Friday, we use Monday to game plan for our opponent. Wednesday is a skill development day, teaching day. Thursday is game plan day, play Friday, and then we have Saturday off. A couple games this year, and I think my coaching career as a whole, this was probably we played so many Saturday games this year, and it's just the schedule that was given to us. So we didn't have a lot of Saturdays off. We were playing. We had a lot of weeks where we played 3 games in a week. But normally, once we balanced out and got into region play, playing on Tuesdays and Friday, we win as such. As a coaching staff, we sit down and see what our need is, what we need to get better with. I'm real big on studying the weaknesses of our team and seeing how we can improve that. Your strengths are your strengths. They're not going anywhere. So I tell them guys all the time, if you're right-handed, you can be right-handed for the rest of your life. So let's get better and build up on our weaknesses. So we may have a practice plan, but at the same time, if it's an area, like if we're doing a rebounding drill, and I think, we got beat on the boards the previous game, that 20-minute rebounding drill can turn into an hour. So that's when the practice plan goes out the window. But we try, for the most part, keep it structured. We use our, like on individual skills development, we use our drills as conditioning as well. So that's when we get better. We may not just be just get on the line, just running sprints and all that. We can condition while we're doing, shoot drills, ball handling, things like that. So we keep stuff, practices up tempo. It's fast paced because ultimately, you play how you practice. So I'm not gonna keep things slow and then expect them to play fast in a game. It doesn't make sense.
So let's ask this question then. How important, or do you believe that positionless basketball is?
With how the game it is now, I think it's very important. And just being honest with you, Kelton, just talking to Coach Kelsey about Kelton Tafford. I said, Kelton is a basketball player. The kid, he's 6'7". I said, but he doesn't have a true position. I said, but the thing that I know is he brings a lot of good to the game. Good things happen when he's on the floor. So, when you just look at the game on every level, from high school to college to pro, you see so many guys when you watch, like, man, what position is it? It's not like, having a true power forward or a small forward. There's so many times to where the game has 4 guards on the court. In the state championship against Scotts Branch one time, they went small on us. And, and I got two of my bigs out there. So, we stuck with what we did and defense and pressure because that's how we practice. So our bigs were able to guard some of their guards. So it kind of balanced out, but positionless ball it's becoming a huge style in today's game. Can be very, very effective, especially you play teams like that. They get you in a pick and roll, and defensively they can switch everything because they play multiple positions. So it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing for you, but if you got a lot of wings, if you coach with a team and you got a lot of 6'2s across the board, and then I got some 6'6", 6'7", somebody's gonna have a mismatch eventually. So it's all about who's gonna dictate what. I like it though. I try to grow within the game.
Question from the panel. One of the people who are out here, one of the people that are watching. It's coming from your brother, actually.
God.
What are your thoughts on the new transfer rule? What impact will it have on prep schools who are members of the high school league?
Thoughts on the new transfer rules? Man, that's a good question, man. I think in public education, to me, I think that public education is the purest form of coaching. Because if it's done right, you get the kids that that are zoned for you. So that's why I say it's pure. When you start getting into players transferring, sometimes I look at it like they're running from something. It could be they want to leave a bad situation to get into a good situation. So with that, I just think if it's done. I don't really if it's done, I think it needs to be evaluated. If it's a good move, then let the kid transfer. Because ultimately, as a coach, I want to coach kids that want to play for me.
Right.
If the transfer, if it's legit, it's not nothing where you're trying to build, these super teams. I'm all for it. So,
what do you? Let's talk about a little bit of your personnel. I know that you have. And some people watching may know, but I definitely know that you have a kid by the name of Dre Coleman, who's arguably best freshman in the state. I think he did garner that award as being freshman of the year or something to that nature. But 6'7", probably 14, 15 years old, and he's probably going to grow some more. Let's talk about his potential some, and then, let's talk about maybe a couple other kids that in that same sophomore class that have potential that people might not know about.
Yeah, Dre is he's a special talent. 6'7". He actually turned 15 the week of the state championship, March 3rd. He works. Dre got so much better from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and it was just, extra time. Coach Holmes, just staying on him, working on him. A lot of times being young, he really didn't understand. Man, this coach always getting on me. But he ended up just putting it all together, piece by piece, working, and it was. I told some of the coaches, I said we arguably looking at two of the best freshmen in the class of 2023 in the state championship game with him and the point guard for Scotts Branch. Two very good basketball players to be so young and to be true freshmen. So I think the next 3 years for both of them going to be super, super exciting. I'm excited for Dre. He comes in, work, don't make excuses. I get on him sometimes because sometimes he liked to pout when he was young. So when you get an opportunity to go against Kelton Tafford every day in practice, you have no choice but to get better. So it's the, and then of course he's playing with your older brother on the team. His older brother in the class of 2022. He's a sophomore. So one brother, the older brother 6'6", Dre 6'7". So it's gonna be interesting. And their dad, Telly Coleman. I played against Telly, played AAU basketball with Telly, played some high school ball against him. Telly, 2-time state champion as well, man. So he was it's in the pedigree. It's in the pedigree, so it's gonna be fun to coach them guys.
Talk about how, because I know as a player you came up short as a state champion a couple times. I didn't have that problem. But I only got there once, so I was 1 for 1. I got the mic thing going on here. I'm 1 for 1, baby. But talk about how, because I mean, you and we talked a lot going up to it, but talk about your son put something on here. I'm gonna tell you what he said in a minute. Talk about how important and how just overwhelmed with emotion you were to actually win that state championship. I know as a player, you know, I cried and we won, but and when I got the conference championship at Western Kentucky, that was another, you know, emotion. So just talk about as a coach getting your first one ever, period. Just talk about how the emotion was overwhelmed with that.
Oh man, to see that clock hit 0 and you know DJ Adams come up with a steal. Oh man, because the thing as a player, I feel like I should have won it 3 out of my 4 years. My freshman year, my junior year, and my senior year. I was very, very close. My brother, he'll probably, you know, ask you a question or make a comment, but my freshman year, I missed a free throw that could have won a game. I had 2 free throws. I hit one to tie it up, but I could have won it if I would have hit the second one. We was playing Central Paisley. And they end up going to the state championship and lost to Macedonia, Joe Hamilton and Courtney. But we would have won that game. Would have played in Upper State and then played Macedonia. But that game was a triple overtime. So, you know, just thinking how close you were as a player. So, you know, me and, you know, some of the coaches, my coaching buddies that we always talked like, man, I just, you know, as an assistant, as a head, I just want to get to the Coliseum one time. So, you know, the playoffs started, we had a bye, and then we played Blackville Hilda. That first, you know, what was our first game in the second round, you know, we were at home clicking all cylinders. So we was preparing to go to HKT because they were the #1 seed as well. So we would have had to travel to them. And as soon as the game over with, our principal, Dr. Sanders, said, Estelle upset HKT. We'll be at home Tuesday. So, you know, playing in the Devil's Den, that's everything to us. And so, you know, to play that game, to have an opportunity to go to the Upper State, play, end up winning big. We went to the Upper State rematch of the previous year, High Point. And I said, I've never seen a team about to play for the second time ever, but it's feel like it's one of the oldest rivalries in the state of South Carolina. We're playing High Point. So, you know, Marcus Watts, you know, they defending champs. And I told our guys, I said, listen, until we beat them, they're the champs. So, you know, that game going up there, man, we were just locked in. I knew from the time we left, we had like a little send-off with the student body. From the time we got on that tour bus, I said, man, these guys locked. So we got to the Bon Secours Arena in Greenville. And just a great feeling, you know, and took care of business there. So then you got a week to prepare. So first time going through it, all I know is we in the state championship, we prepare, and the week took forever. So, you know, I don't want to overwork them, but at the same, I want to make sure we polished and we ready. So we watched film, man, and, you know, just studying. But at 12 o'clock that Saturday, you know, to go out there, I felt we were too high at the beginning of the game because of the adrenaline rush. We kind of died down, and we were super tired in the second quarter.
Right.
But to be down 6 with exactly 2 minutes on the clock, my panic button didn't go off. I felt like, you know what, we were just a spill away. Subbed in a senior, Dwayne Robb, and, you know, he created some pressure. DJ was able to get a steal to lay up to cut it to 4, and I could just, that momentum shift, and you know, as a player and as a coach, that momentum when it shifts, it's hard to get back. So I could feel it shifting, man, and just, you know, the seniors, everybody kept making a big play, whether it was a rebound or steal, creating a turnover, applying pressure, and they were just, you know, we kind of just clicked in at the right time. And when it was over with, and my buddy, DeWalt, who coaches at Carolina Forest. He like, man, he had told me earlier. He said, "You win, take care of business. I'll be presenting you the game ball." I said, "Well, I don't like to overlook, anybody that I play." But man, it was one of the ultimate feelings, man. I told my family, I said it was my father's dream way before it was mine. I was one of the ones who thought I was gonna be able to just play the game forever, not knowing that Father Time's gonna walk everybody down undefeated. So, to get in coaching, he just told me to stay with it. I had a long journey as an assistant coach and had several times where I almost left the game just to do something else. But stayed with it. And, I laughed. I told my players, I said, this right here was my father's dream way before it was mine. But so you'll see him, I lost him March 20th, 2015. So it was just, just thinking about him, some of the conversations we had to know how big of a sports fanatic he was. And I felt, like he's in the Coliseum that day. All of my family there, man. It was a great feeling. It's just words really can't describe it. So, it's definitely something I want to feel again. So, I feel like I want to work harder. I don't feel content by any means necessary, but I definitely want to experience again. But I was so happy for those seniors and just working hard and believing in me as well.
So a question from one of my former players. She actually played at Rutgers. She's now playing overseas professionally. She'll be on the show in the coming weeks. She said, "What do you tell your players that believe that they should have higher offers than what they have received? If you know their level, should you tell them what level you think they're at?"
College coaches gonna find you, and I don't really think college coaches. If you're Division I talent, you're going to be found. It's just, you want to work. And sometimes, me and my buddy, man, Larry Davis, we had this conversation the other day about, do you tell the player the truth that they're not Division I, but do you try to just reach out to those college coaches and have them, pretty much hurt their feelings as well? I believe in just telling the kids the truth. If you're Division I, you're Division I. But at times by junior year, if D1s haven't even sent you an interest letter, you play at Division I. So I do, every now and again it might be a player to get overlooked, but I would tell her definitely, man, just be honest with the kid. Let them know, and then if you have those connections with college coaches, especially Division I coaches that want to come into your practices and see, have them come in. Definitely invite them in and have them, see for themselves and kind of, do some players evaluations to see, do you think they could play at this level? And they're gonna let you know whether I'll be back to recruit. Nah, that's not the case. So, but.
So I'll get to what was said. Aside from the topic, do you think LeBron will surpass Jordan?
Surpass him as what, in points?
He already passed him there.
You're
man,
never not asking me this, man. Listen, man. Me and my oldest son had this conversation about 35 minutes ago. And we were talking about the documentary. I was like, man, Michael Jordan, man. He's the GOAT. I don't even like to talk about it and just go into depth conversation, man, because, some of these LeBron fans start getting real crazy, real silly. And I said, with me, it's MJ, man. MJ the GOAT, man.
He said everything. No, he will not surpass him. He'll pass him on points, rebounds, and everything else.
He'll get him on points. As far as overall basketball GOAT, no, not at all.
I think I told you this, or I know I told somebody this. I said, I think LeBron has that. he has a skill that Kobe and Mike didn't have, and that was the ability to physically. First of all, he's a better passer than both of them, but he has the ability to physically make his teammates better while playing the game. What do I mean by that? Meaning that while he's in the game, he's going to make you better. You may be the average player, but like Danny Green, for example. Danny Green hit 28 that first game against the Clippers. He had 28 points, and he hit like 7 threes. Why? Because you're playing with the two greatest players in the game. I think AD's game has even elevated even more because the ability that he's passing to him and throwing down the line with Mike and Kobe. And I got to see Kobe's work ethic firsthand. I think that their attitude and the way they approach the game and how hard they work made their teammates work that much harder. So you had to be like, okay, Mike gonna be in the gym for 2 hours. I better get in there at least an hour so he can see that I'm working too. And you had to really focus on developing your own game by working extra outside of practice. I think that was a difference. And then I think that LeBron has, and this might have been said between me and you, but LeBron has that mentality that if I'm going to win the game, I'm only going to take the shot if I'm open or it's a good shot. Mike and Kobe were like, you know what? We're going to win, lose, or draw with the ball in my hand. I don't care what you say. It's going to be what it's going to be. So I think that was the major difference. And then, like I said, Mike took beatings night in and night out. The Detroit Pistons beat Michael Jordan like he was their stepchild. And it was bad. But as a coach, give me 2 of your most important characteristics. Like what, all coach, I mean, you have many characteristics as a coach. We all do. And we have characteristics as a player. But what are 2 characteristics? Like if I pick up the phone and call Steven or I call whoever just to talk about you, what characteristics are they going to say that you have as a coach? The 2 most important ones.
I think my brother would say hard working and then discipline. I mean, because I can lock in on something, and I'm just real big on it. I get my guys. I do think all 3 of those guys, LeBron, Kobe, and MJ, all had a laser-like focus that the ability to lock in and focus. I'm reading Kobe's book right now, The Mamba Mentality. I think every basketball player need to read it, man. Hey, this book right here, is, man, the first couple pages, man, you get goosebumps when you read it. So, just hard work and discipline.
So here's another, and we'll elaborate on those. Here's another point. It's not really a question, but he's actually petitioning this. Marcus Watts said, High Point versus Great Falls, Part 3. Let's make this the best rivalry in the state.
You know what? I'm telling you, man, it's a rivalry. Hey, before the second day I got the job, people were like, you got to beat High Point. I was like, we got so many games to win just to get to that point. Right. And then tell Marcus it didn't make it any better to know that we both were in the same Christmas tournament in Chesney. So, we were supposed to meet in the championship that game. So I still got questions about that game with Marcus with High Point and Blacksburg in the semifinals. But it was a good game. It was a good game. So I think I'll pass across again in the future.
That game to me was probably one of the. I was there live, so it was one of the most intense games that you've seen because both teams had the ability to break it open either way. Like you were coming in, you won your first round game like 70-something, 30-something. Then you won your next round game 70-something, 30-something. Like you were beating people. And Marcus, the game before the state, they scored 91. They played at Spartan High. They scored 91, and the 2. Their names are slipping my brain right now, and I want to call their names because I know both of them. Jaden And Watts, I know you're still on there. Text me them names.
Jalen Bird and Isaiah Owens.
There you go. Jaden Bird and Isaiah Owens, they went for like 70 in that game.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, this is going to be interesting because, you had Kelton Talford, who was Division I signee, and then you had Jerry Coleman, then you had DJ Adams, who is an incredible athlete. I told somebody the other day, I said, last night, actually, I was like, you don't hear of a kid playing football and making All-State on both sides of the ball.
On both sides.
That is unheard of. Like, I had never heard of that ever in my life. Like, I think that's the first time I ever heard of it. I don't care what division. You could be -2A division, but playing football and being able to be All-State, because I told my high school coach that we were actually sitting together at that game. And he said, "What'd you say?" I said, "Yeah, that kid he's All-State in basketball." I said, "But he's All-State offensively and defensively in football."
Yeah.
Like, huh? I was like, "Yeah, coach." I said, "That's amazing." I said, "He's wide receiver and DB." I said, "It's unreal." But I would love to see a High Point Great Falls Part 3, whether it's a scrimmage, whether it's in a Christmas tournament, whether it's the best 1A teams in the state tournament, just do a tournament that way. However, that would be a great matchup because I think that 1A basketball, U2 teams have brought 1A basketball back to making it like it's not like, oh, okay, it's just 1A basketball. I think the buzz about 1A basketball has been dead a little bit since the C.A. Johnson glory years when they were there every year and competing and winning states, which wasn't long ago, but it seems so far away. And I don't think 1A basketball is respected enough. So therefore, with two teams that can make it, and then of course you played a great Scotts Branch team because they, the young kid, I think he was a lefty, and they were young and they were scrappy and they were good. So 1A basketball is not dead and it's not a lost art in the state of North Carolina.
But yeah, man, that we trying to bring it back. I think it's gonna make it more interesting next year to know that Calhoun County is coming back down to 1A. So with Zam Fredericks, man, that's
let's talk that because now you have Watch. You can chime in because I know you're still watching. You got Calhoun County coming down, and you have Southside Christian coming down, and then you have who'd you play? Scotts Branch, yourself. Then you got High Point. McCormick will be back strong. You got Esther was good. They weren't horrible. They're good. That whole conference is, you got 8 teams in that conference. Man, talk about how because Calhoun County has, I said Southside Christian. Calhoun County has so much history with Young Zam, Buck, aka Buck, but he won so many state championships, and now Zam Fredericks is coming back down to 1A basketball. I don't know if they've ever been 1A. I know they went from 2A to 3A and back down to 2A. But the point of the matter is, a program with that much history, kind of like Great Falls, how big is that for 1A?
It's big. Calhoun County, they've been 1A for several years. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Alshon Jeffrey won 4. I think he might have won 5 state championships. And, that's when he shocked everybody and decided to go play football next level. But Zam, man, that program is, you can't say enough about Zam, man. He's a legend, man. Tremendous playing career. And now as a coach, being back there, he run a top program. And not only that, he'll have one of the top seniors in the state next year. 6'8" kid, I forgot his name, but the kid, he can play. So, having him come back down to 1A, Carver's Bay is going to be back 1A. Hannah Pamplico is going to be back 1A. So it's Louisville coming back down to 1A. 1A basketball is going to be a problem next year. I mean, it's going to be a problem next year. So I'm just trying to make sure my guys are ready for what they could possibly face. And if our paths in the playoffs cross with High Point again, I know Marcus, he'll be ready because he didn't like that 20 piece I put on him. He didn't like it.
I don't think he was too happy about that.
He didn't like that 20 piece, buddy.
But let's talk the Devil Den, as you call it, or Devil Dome, or whatever you want to call it. Man, I've seen y'all's intro. Like, it is like amazing. So talk about that atmosphere, because I would imagine in a town like Great Falls, you have to get there during the girls' game to get a seat, because if you don't, you're gonna be on the outside wishing you were on the inside.
Yeah,
Talk
man.
about that atmosphere, man.
It's a tremendous atmosphere. I think arguably one of the best basketball entrances in high school. When those lights off, especially when we're playing, I think this season we might have had 6 sellouts, and which other pack games as well. But when the lights are off, and you playing a team that's never been through it or never had to deal with that, and they see those lights go off, and the fans get into it, it's a different atmosphere. It is a different atmosphere. So I love it, man. The town buys into it though. It's a community thing. They're not. You can't leave them out, because they're a huge part of what we do. So they gonna let you know when you're doing things right, and they definitely gonna let you know when you're doing things wrong. So you got to take the good with the bad, man.
Especially in that town. How does it feel to? I know you came behind Coach Jimmy Duncan, but before that, Coach John Smith spent 47 years, I think that was, as the head coach there. Talk about how it was to come behind him, who won 10, 11 state championships or something like that. Something crazy. Yeah.
Man, it's unique. But the thing about it, he doesn't stay too far from the school, and then he makes it to a lot of the home games. So we talk. We both Newberry College alumni. When AAU came on the scene, we combined the guy that I was telling you used to do skill development, Alan Cato, who passed. He and John Smith. John Smith was his assistant. So it was almost like Andrew Jackson players in Great Falls combined. So we would have 8 or 9 players, man. And some of the players that I tell you about that we faced or competed against, man, it was unreal. That talent was good. From William Avery to, Robert O'Kelly, Tony Harris. We played against some of the elite just across the board. We won the state championship in AAU 2 years in a row down in Columbia. So AAU was coming on the scene hard. I think the first year we went to Kingsport, Tennessee, and then we went to Oklahoma. But John Smith, man, he taught us so much, which is about the game. And I laugh about being coached by him at AAU, coming back, going to Newberry College. He went to Newberry College, so I knew about him as a player there. And then taking my first job at Andrew Jackson and coaching against him. And, man, just seeing, just the different levels of who he is, and knowing him as a man, and even talking to him to this day. I may talk to him 5 minutes, I may talk to him 30, but he's gonna tell you, just what. I always try to pick his brain, but it's a tremendous honor just to be, to kind of follow in those footsteps, and also to be able to deliver something that he delivered on a consistent basis when it comes to championships. So it's a great feeling, man. You talking about a legend. He is truly a legend. So we just happy. I'm excited to get back and have an off season so he can come around a little more and kind of just see. So he's gonna let you know what he sees and who got it and all that, man. So it's a tremendous. That's a blessing to have come around.
Most teams start talking about identity, and coaches, ADs, and coaches will ask you, what's the identity of a team, or what's the identity of your team. So if people don't know you, they've never seen your team play, talk about the kind of identity that your team would be known for.
Pressure. They know when the coach team come to town, you got to be ready. You're going to feel it. My players, all my little isms, they tell you the pressure of bust a pipe, imagine what it do to the human body. So they understand that. And you know what, to show them that when shots not falling, but we're still winning the game because of what we're doing defensively, it makes them buy in. They'll buy in, and we work hard, man. We're gonna be unselfish, and we're gonna play a heavy dose of defense. So, because when you think about all the greats around, man, coaches from the Zam Fredericks, Zach Norris, John Smith, Tim Whipple.
They're around.
You know what I'm saying? They when you on the South Carolina high school level, and I put those guys who I just said on anybody level, because you play Keenan, Irmo, Great Fall, Calhoun County,
Dorman,
Thomas Ryan. I mean, hey, he last 4 years he won 4 straight.
And he just got announced yesterday as National Coach of the Year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And some of the up and coming guys, Danny Wright. When you play Andrew Jackson, man, you better.
Especially at Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson, your Larry Davis.
Davis.
It's you talking about a man that's hard to beat twice. And then you get into the Northwestern, man, with John Bramlett. There's so many good coaches around, and that got programs and coach the game the right way. So, and not only that, their players get an opportunity to play next level ball, man. So I study everybody though. I've been studying you, man. I study it all, man. I know all these coaches around here, man. Hey, you're not gonna blindside to catch me off guard. I know you.
It ain't no secret to me. I'm going offensive rebound like crazy.
Yep.
I'm gonna run it. And like I told you, when you pull up at my school, my starting 5 is meeting you in the parking lot while my second 5 is waiting on you at your locker room door.
Best way to be.
We'll give you a pizza after the game, but
yeah.
We're gonna have to run you. You're gonna be so hungry. You're gonna be hungry because we're gonna be ran you so much.
Oh yeah.
Let's go there for a few minutes, as even with my discussion with my water bottle boys, as we call it. Or locker room boys, however you want to put it. It was just some fun talk. Talk about South Carolina basketball as a whole. Like we don't get a lot of credit for what we produce, because we can go back to Stanley Roberts, and then you can bring it up to JoJo English, and then you got Jermaine O'Neal, you got Ray Allen, then you had Raymond Felton. Now you just had the 3 South Carolina guys last year, 2 going 1 and 2 in Zion and John Morant, and then Jarrell Brantley in the second round. Let's just talk about South Carolina basketball as a whole. I mean, Kevin Garnett. Let me not forget Kevin Garnett, because people think Kevin Garnett is from Chicago. Guys, he is from Malden, South Carolina.
Malden, South Carolina, man.
All day long. But just talk about South Carolina basketball as a whole. And like, as this state gets labeled as a football / baseball state, we don't get the credit, but I think now we'll get a little more credit because Zion and Ja went 1 and 2.
Yeah, South Carolina basketball, man, I think it's I'll put it up against any state in the world, man. I think it's of course it don't get the props that they deserve, but when you got the top 2 draft picks from the same state. I mean, but then when you look at it from an AAU perspective, I mean, when you got talent galore, best against the best, and some of these teams from South Carolina that's beating teams from all over, man, that's huge. That's huge. But then, like you said with Thomas Ryan at Dorman and Spartanburg, South Carolina, being National Coach of the Year, it's huge. And now everybody is speaking on the class of 2022, the sophomore class currently right now, and how rich it is in the state of South Carolina. Like this sophomore class is huge, man.
It's a lot of talent in that sophomore class, in that 2022. It's a lot of talent in that. It's some good talent in 2021, but 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it down here. Not just here. It's that sophomore class is loaded, period. It's just loaded all throughout the state and the nation. But South Carolina basketball does get overlooked because, I mean, we do have the football genes around here. But South Carolina basketball with Team USC, with Darius Wiley, they had a good run with the winner made hoops this year, and they played well. one age group, I think, end up finishing first or second. If he's still watching this, I'm sure he'll pop it up. One of them finished first or second, and another group finished second or third. Then he had one group that didn't finish so well. They lost some close games. But young kids, you're going to lose some close games because you're still learning and developing how to win.
Yeah.
Then you have the Upward Stars. Obviously, we know that they're good. And then you got Team United that has some South Carolina teams, but they get a lot of South Carolina players. But it's that Darius's team made it known that South Carolina has talent because at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade class, man, it's like I say, it's talent. And this state to me is a diamond in the rough when it comes to basketball recruits because you're going to come here, you're going to find you somebody. Nobody who knew who Ja Morant was. Let's just put it there.
Nobody. And I saw him early on when he was at Crestwood.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him too. Like I knew he could play.
Yeah.
But he was going to go to Murray State, average 20 a game, and lead the nation in assists, and then be the number 2 draft pick. I mean, that doesn't happen. Whereas nobody knew who Zion was until his rising 10th grade year.
Yeah.
Went to his 10th grade year. They were playing at Swanee Sports Academy. He was playing for Game Elite. The guy throws a lob, and the dude he was about 6'6" at the time, maybe a little bit shorter. And dude jumps with him, who's about 6'10", and he dunks on him so hard he falls.
Yeah.
That tape started going out like that, and then people started really figuring out this kid can really play. And
he can play, man.
And he's a lefty. And then it went from there, and then there you go. You know, he was arguably the 1 or 2 best player in the nation. And you know, he took a lot of criticism because of where he played high school basketball at. Who cares? He did the same thing at Duke. So, you know, it didn't matter. And he was doing the same thing in the NBA as he got healthy. But
when you look at South Carolina, man, I remember just from like 1990. My brother graduated in 90, so I went to all his games. So like this being his conference, man, I remember the guy that played at Bishopville. He passed, I think, in a car wreck, but Kermit Speaks. And, you know, my brother and them, Andrew Jackson, he was big time. But then you know, they would play schools like Bishopville, Lamar, Mayo, Furman. You know, a lot of them, man, like they were like grown men playing. And then in like 90, you know, you had Ray Allen at Hillcrest Dazelle.
Yep.
You had him. That team was a super team. You had Marvin Orange at Irmo. You know, Larry Davis out of Denmark Ola, averaging 44 a game. I mean, so, you know, but to go to a Great Fall and Bethune high school basketball game back then, if you didn't get there early, you didn't get in. I mean, Tyrone McCoy, Danny Strong, you know, it was just it was like pro games, man. Small gyms, you know, great atmosphere, and you know, it was just that was high school basketball, man.
There's nothing like I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Spartan High Viking, and I like the arena that they have now, and I like the arena that we played in. But there's something about being in a small gym where it's packed and it's loud. People under the basket, they hanging on the floor. You dunk on somebody, everybody's running on the court. There's something about being in that atmosphere that just makes you as a player, because there's nowhere to hide. You know, in a big gym, a fan might miss a play or something, but in a gym like that, and they on top of you.
But see, and that's what we have. People laugh because we don't even have chairs for the teams. They got to sit on the bench when you come to the Devil's Den. So, hey, you're talking about fans like right on you. But you know, I've been fortunate to be a part of 3 of the biggest rivalries in the state of South Carolina. To be a part at Andrew Jackson, I was a part of Andrew Jackson versus Lancaster, which is a 2A versus a 4A. But then in their region, Andrew Jackson versus Central Pageland, and everything is huge. Then to go to Northwestern and be a part of the Northwestern and Rock Hill High game. Those games are like fundraisers because they start at 2:00. So the kids can pay $2 to get out of class, 4th block, and you know all teams play. So you have a 9th grade boys, JV girls, varsity boys. So it's all day. So it's easily 2,000 people in the gym at 2:00, and and it gets bigger. And then to be at this one school, Great Fall, and be a part of the Great Fall in Louisville, man, sold out. I mean,
I was about to say, let's talk about that because I personally think I played in the best rivalry in the state. Spartan, there is well, when I was playing, and it's still the same, there's nothing like a Spartanburg High and Dorman football game, basketball game, tennis match, golf match, whatever. But with speaking basketball, but there's nothing like it. I mean, you're talking sold out, but talk about Louisville and Great Falls. How is that? That's got to be crazy, especially with the gyms not being overly large.
Man, it's people right on you. You know, a lot of the boys, the teams, they're cousins, so they know each other. You know, you're familiar with with the coaches. Two rich programs, but when they play, you talking about intense. Not only from the player standpoint and the coaches, but from the crowd. And it's just at our place, I think we ended up beating them by 13. But to go there, it was on a Saturday, so I think they opened the gates like 4 o'clock. It was sold out. So when we get there, I mean, the gym is sold out. So we go in through the back, and we don't have anywhere to sit. So we're just waiting. And the game started, man, and they played. We had that Friday night. I remember we played Timminsville. We went to Timminsville. We didn't get back to about 12:30. Got up. And I was just like, you know what, we got to dig deep today because it's a rivalry game. And yeah, we played, Timminsville played us good the Friday night before. But man, and we just kept chipping away. They went on a run late, and we were down 2. And Kel Brown, he found DJ Adams in the corner. That game, and DJ hit the 3 to put us up 1. It ended up stopping short because of a little altercation, but we ended up winning by 2, 54-52. What you talk about intense? God, man, I've seen it because my brother used to coach at Louisville, and I've seen the game plenty of times. So here it is. I'm in it now from a coach, and I mean, you got grandmothers and grandfathers at the game. I mean, it was super intense. And all I'm thinking is, we got to find a way to win this game. If not, I got to find a back hole to crawl up on. But
get on the bus and get out of there.
Get on the bus and get out of there. But man, Coach McCray, we talked about it, and it was just a great game, man. It's football, basketball, baseball. This thing, of course, it's on the 1A level. So you got the towns. So I'm gonna say our rivalry is better than the Spartanburg and Dorman rivalry because you said y'all got too many schools. But when you got, a town that has one school separated by 8 miles, 8 miles. So you're talking about 2 towns trying to pack in one gym, and everybody's not going to get in. So, it's just who can get there first, man. It's a great atmosphere, man. So.
Well, I appreciate the conversation, the love that we had, the talks. It was great. Man, thank y'all for tuning in. This will be live. Obviously, it's on my Facebook page, but it'll also be on my YouTube channel, Full Court Press with Coach Jay. Check it out. For those that are watching, I am hosting a virtual coaches clinic next Thursday via Zoom. If you're interested in that, you can comment on this video or you can send a message in my inbox and I'll get you the information as I'll be putting it all out. It'll start at 5 p.m. Next Thursday. I got about 7 speakers including myself. We're just going to talk a little bit, and I got 3 Division I. I got 3 women's college coaches, 3 college coaches, 2 from Division I level, 1 at Division II. They're not your stuff you don't want to miss. I got a good guy going to talk about the Carolina break. I actually have a former coach at Limestone, and he was the assistant for years, the interim head coach. He'll be on, and so it'll be good stuff. You don't want to miss it. It should last from about 5 to 8. It's free. Again, everybody likes something free, so it's totally free. It'll be looking for it on my page. I'll put it out there, and just contact me if you're interested. Thank you for tuning in. Hold on, Coach. Gotta find this. Oh no, don't do that. You do this.